But then, we all have different energy types. So we're all having a different experience. I was saying this to a friend recently where I feel like, for me, as an example, if I work a 9 to 5, I feel like a weird thing happens with time. I feel like a weird thing happens with time where the 9 to 5, it takes up literally my whole day. And then I come home exhausted and there's no time left at all. And anytime I've been in that position, working hours like that, it's like the window of time for myself gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's really unpleasant. But that's my design, And I feel that people who are designed differently, who can work a 9 to 5, they are supposed to have consistency, or they do well with a schedule. I feel like the 9 to 5 is just a small part of their day. And then at the end of the day, they go and enjoy like the other half of the day. So I feel like in learning about the different energy types, I really get to understand how we're all experiencing the world so differently. What is reality really made of? I'm your host Carla, and welcome to Cosmic Batter, the podcast where we explore what it means to be human, with our ability to heal and transform, the power of love, and our connection to the divine. This is for anyone who realizes that there is so much more to our existence. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of the Cosmic Batter podcast. I'm your host, Carla Herschel. And today, I honestly feel almost like nervous excitement because so much has shifted. I have been kind of hibernating, processing information, and for so long I've been like, oh, I want to speak about that, I want to share that, I want to talk about that, but it just wasn't the right time. And I think my last podcast episode was just over 2 months ago, which for me is like unheard of. And now I'm ready to share the messages. So I've actually written out the main things I want to talk about because this episode's going to be really fun. I feel one of my main lessons these last few months has been around being radically authentic. And human design has helped me so much with this. I am going to talk about human design a lot today. But being radically authentic and honoring my own timeline and honoring my energy and honoring how I like to do things and deconditioning from what society says we should do. Deconditioning from expectations of other people in friendships, relationships, with family. And especially for myself, then shifting the expectations that I have been putting onto other people. So before we dive in a little bit deeper, one of the first things I wanted to comment on in this podcast is boundaries and my boundaries. Now, in the past, I really loved essentially getting like external validation. Like if you listen to the podcast, I wanted to hear your story. I wanted to hear your personal journey. I wanted to have, these conversations. And I still want to talk to my community. I still enjoy talking to my community. But the issue is like recently I've had comments that are like, they have nothing to do with me, or they're not even about the podcast. Or I've had comments that are asking for my advice in a way that actually is disrespectful. So, and like, there's nothing wrong with that because I feel I'm getting a better understanding of energetic boundaries as well, which are important through the internet, right? Like I had someone comment on one of my podcasts the other day and they were like, I would usually love to watch an episode like this, but 90 minutes, it's just too long for me. I read that comment. I was like, okay, why did you comment? Like, just skip the video. Like, you didn't need to tell me that. I just didn't reply, obviously. And then I've received messages sometimes from people saying that they love my podcast, they resonate with it, which is amazing. Like, I really appreciate that. But then they've gone on to share their personal life and their journey and their story and where they came from and what they're struggling with. And that, I'm like, whoa, we don't even know each other. Like, because that takes, you're asking me to hold space and I don't know you as a person. If you want me to hold space for you, if you want to be heard in what you're going through, if you want any sort of advice or guidance, like, book a session. That's what my sessions are for. And I'm sure everybody listening can understand. First of all, I'm a human being, so I can't hold space for everyone that like listens to the podcast or engages with my content. But also as a healer, this is what I do for work. I hold space for my clients. I hold space for people that are in active containers with me where there is an energy exchange. Just as you would pay a builder to build your house, you wouldn't expect them to do it for free just because it's their skill. So yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I'm strengthening my energetic boundaries. I love it when people comment. I love reading your comments, but just make sure they're relevant. If they're not relevant, I'm not going to reply anymore. And you know, if there's so much that you want to say or share, or if you want assistance with your healing, book a session. Book a session. So I want to add with that, if you're going through a hard time spiritually, I understand. That's why I'm making these podcasts. But that doesn't mean that you can just have like access to me as a person just because you're having a spiritual experience. We are all going through a spiritual experience all the time. Yeah, and just because you relate to my spiritual experiences or like the psychic phenomena, that doesn't mean that we're best friends. Yeah, I kind of have to say that because I've had people recently saying, "Oh my God, we have this in common. Like, we should be friends. Like, we should hang out." And I have met people online before, but comments like that, I don't actually know you. Yeah, and I think it's, you know, beautiful and wonderful that you're having that spiritual experience, and I wish you all the best. And I understand it can be challenging, but then that's your responsibility to find your own community, to look after yourself, to lean on the community that you have, and to get support if you need it. Yes, you can book a healing session with me, or if that doesn't resonate, work with another healer, work with another spiritual guide. If you don't have money, which is so fine, I have been there, listen to more podcasts and get advice from that. Read books, you know. If you're in Australia, like, you can get like a mental health plan, and you can see psychologists in a way that's like affordable if you feel called to see a psych. You are responsible for yourself. And like, I share this podcast because it brings me joy. I do it for myself. I love sharing the messages. I love building awareness around the spiritual experience and how to move through it, and my own personal experience or what I see with my clients. Like, but this podcast is not like your one-stop shop for support. And I know, like, we can end up, you know, in really dark places as well, and maybe be quite desperate to be heard and supported. I so empathize with that. But you are still responsible for yourself. And if you need support, go and get it. It's not fair to expect other people to hold that for you. Yeah. Because you know what? I have had really dark moments myself. And I've had spiritual emergencies, like full-blown spiritual emergencies. And that is when I have leaned out to a healer that I know or that I want to work with. And I've said to them, hey, I'm experiencing this spiritual emergency. Can we figure something out? Like, if, say, I didn't have any money in that moment, which has literally happened to me more than once, and I'll message them and ask, can we figure something out? And as an example, I have asked for payment plans before when I've not had any money at all. And those healers have then worked with me to find a middle ground. I never asked them to lower their prices. I never asked them to do it for free. Like, your experience is your responsibility. No matter how dark it is, it's your responsibility. And it's not fair to then say to a healer, like, hey, I'm having a hard time. Can you hold all of this for me? Can you handle this for me? Can you clear this for me? Because it's not the healer's experience. It's your experience that you are going through for you to shift. And again, if you're truly feeling like you can't pay for anything, there are so many free resources. But it's important to say this as well, because I personally have been learning more about codependence, and I feel like I have such like a better understanding of it from both sides. Like, I've had moments of helplessness where I've been in the fucking shit, been in the dark, having my spiritual emergency, having my dark night of the soul, Kundalini awakening as well, all of these things. So I've been in the helpless side of things, feeling truly helpless and powerless and like needing help in that moment. I've also been on the other side as the healer, being able to hold space for people that are like experiencing the darkness. And it's fascinating, it's the yin and yang energy, and how can we support people without taking their power away? So what I mean by that is, if I'll speak to my personal experience, when I've been having a really hard time, I've been in the absolute shit, I've had no money, and I've been thinking, I really need help. I need help to shift this. I need help to change. I don't have any money. I'm struggling. Like, when I'm thinking that, if somebody then says, oh my God, you're struggling so much, let me help you for free. Oh my God, you poor thing. How can I help you? How can I give you energy to support you? They are then actually affirming that I am helpless, that I do not have any money, that I do not have any flow, that I do not have any resources. They are actually affirming that I'm not capable of looking after myself. Now, of course, there is nuance. There is a time and a place when we can help people sort of for free, or there's a different energy exchange. Like, things might be different in friendships or family. Like, there are different energetics at play. But for the sake of this example, you don't want to be having a hard time and then have someone else actually confirm that. Because your struggle is not a truth. It's not a truth about you. It's not a permanent truth. And you're not incapable. You're not helpless. You're not powerless. Like, things will always change and always shift. Yeah, and I can speak more on that, on personal experience. Like, in the past, when I ran courses or I did a lot of long-term private coaching, so previously my work was very high ticket. You paid a lot more money for a lot more access to me. You could be a private client for like 3 months, and I think I can't even bother getting into prices, but I charged a lot of money for that, for 3 months. And as an example, like, none of my clients could straight up like pay that in full, but they could pay that on payment plans. And because I was charging quite a high amount and the background that I had and whatever, I would actually do extended payment plans for a lot of my clients to make the service more affordable, so that it was easier for them to pay for. This means like they would have the 3 months of coaching, but they might pay it off over 6 months. I thought I was helping people by doing this. I thought it's more affordable. This way they get the incredible transformation. They themselves will be making more money. It will be easier to pay me back, whatever. It was coming from a good place, and ultimately that was what I knew at the time, and it's what I had done with other coaches myself. So I thought this extended payment plan helps people. It helps them to pay for this thing. But what I found is that the extended payment plan, essentially, it just extended like people's struggles. Like for some people it was fine, of course. Sometimes I went on an extended payment plan for a coach and it was fine, and other times it wasn't fine. It fucking sucked. And I hated paying them back long term, like after the service was done. And that's just such a great example of like when you accommodate for somebody else's situation, when you accommodate for that, are you actually supporting them, or are you just confirming that struggle? And then it also brings up stuff around like boundaries, and if you should like hold your boundaries or change your boundaries to suit like other people. So for that reason, I don't do extended payment plans anymore, and I don't charge as much, because I feel like if you can't afford a session with me, then that's okay. That's fine. It just means that it's not meant to be right now. Go and put that money into something else, somewhere else that it feels aligned, or where it feels right for you, where it feels affordable. My sessions are way more affordable now. They're like so reasonably priced. And if you don't have money for that, then that's fine. You're just not meant to have a session. It's not a problem. Like I don't offer those extended private coaching anymore, or at least in this moment. Because what I found with that also is with the extended private coaching, I really enjoyed it because I got to help people through massive transformation every single day. And like over 3 months, like their whole life would change. But again, I actually found that that was feeding this belief that they needed help. When actually, like nobody needs help. Everybody is fine as they are. Everybody's perfectly fine. Nobody needs my help, really. Like, come and book a session if you want one, but otherwise you don't need one. Which seems like a poor business model. Like, it's so funny. It's so funny. I don't know if this is from Kundalini. There's definitely a big part of it, or just my life experience in general. But I'm just so done like telling people that they need a session, or like that you need to work with me, or that you need to heal, because you don't. You're perfect as you are. It's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Like, I don't know. I guess I feel like pure acceptance. If you want a session, great. If you don't, awesome. Anyway, so I found the extended private coaching. I learned so much as a coach. I also received long-term private coaching myself. I learned so much in those containers, and now, I just don't need them anymore, because I feel also where I'm at is I've been learning to follow my own guidance, to follow my own intuition, and knowing that I know what is best for me, and you know what is best for you. You know what is best for you. And this just brings up so much more stuff. Like when I started out as a personal trainer, for example, I was taught to, tell people why they needed a personal trainer. And essentially taught like sales tactics. And there's nothing wrong with this. You know, I feel like everybody does it or learns it at some point. Excuse me. Clearing. But as a personal trainer, it would be like, okay, what are your values? Like, why have you come to the gym? Like, what do you value most? It might be like family, career, health, money, fun, whatever. Like, we'd get people's values. And then we'd be like, okay, well, if family is your number one value, and you want to be there for your family, or you want to be able to play with your kids, you want to have fun with your grandchildren, then you need to be healthy. So actually, health, like, let's bump that up to your number one priority. Therefore, if health is your number one priority, like, come to the gym, or come and have personal training sessions. And I don't need to do that anymore. Again, like, I don't really think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just so done trying to convince people that they need something. When people know what they need, like, yeah, and it's all the salesy stuff that pulls people away from their inner knowing and like clouds that judgment. Yeah, how do we get here? Oh, and so I guess with my sessions now, I love doing once-off sessions because one is enough. Like, I now know within my own self and my teachings and what I do with people, one session's enough to change your life. But there's also no pressure on the session. Like, whatever happens is whatever happens. I'm not like expecting a life-changing transformation, but I just feel like one session is enough. If you want more, great. People book packages all the time. If you only need one and that's all we ever see of each other, that's okay too. Like, you know what is right for you on your path. And I guess this can be one of the shadow aspects of the spiritual community or the healing community in general, is like always telling people that they need to heal. And that in itself is actually like undoing people's self-confidence or their self-trust. Like, the whole point of healing is to be able to care for yourself, like to feel good in yourself. So to have that, the self-worth, the confidence to do what you love and enjoy, and to feel at home in your body, right? But then if other healers are like, no, there's still something wrong with you, there's still something that you need to fix, it's like, well, hang on, now you're like tearing people down just to get a client out of it. Yeah, enough of that. Yeah, and I feel, I guess, when I was a personal trainer, I still had that attitude. Like, I was teaching people in a way where they would not need to come back to me. But I did still have that level, again, it's like that yin yang symbol. It's like wanting your clients to be able to support themselves so they don't have to come back. But then back then for me being like, oh, but I also like need to make a living, and like I want money from this, and this is my job. Like, yeah, it's really funny how those energies play together. And it's taken me years of deconditioning to now tell people, like, you don't have to have a session with me. Yeah, and so I'll speak to that. Like, for me, I feel that money is separate to what I do. And, you know, it's something I'm still embodying fully, but it is something that I know is right for me. And I do see the evidence of it at play. So what do I mean by that? Like, I feel that I am abundant and money comes to me. I do not rely on other people to pay me. I rely on myself. So in the past, I'd be like, oh my God, I have to get a certain number of clients to make a certain amount of money to pay my, like I had that pressure. And now I'm like, oh, I pay myself. And now it's like I'm not limited to where the money comes from. And money now comes from a surprising number of places for me. Yes, obviously people book sessions with me and I get paid that way. I receive money in other ways. Sometimes people have booked DJ lessons with me. Obviously I did start DJing, so I got paid from DJ gigs. Gifts, like money just kind of appears for me now. And yeah, it's taken deconditioning to like feel safe in that space, but I now just feel I pay myself. Yeah, the beauty of that is there is no pressure on other people. And you would have felt this yourself, like, yeah, anytime someone's been trying to sell you something, you can feel that pressure. Like if someone is talking to you and they want you to buy the thing, you can feel them like trying to kind of take some of your energy. They're like, come on, just buy the thing. Like you can feel their agenda or their purpose. So I much prefer embodying the energy of being like, I don't care if you have a session or not. Like if you want one, I would love to hold space for you. If you don't want one, I don't care. That's fine. Great. Do whatever you want. So then the clients or the people that want to work with me or the people listening, they feel free to be themselves, to be authentic. There's no pressure. Yeah. It's cool how things have changed. What I found in this process as well is I love having more energy for myself and not worrying so much about other people or trying to fix other people's lives, trying to take on other people's stuff, trying to get all up in other people's business. And that's also like a codependent pattern. So in the past, like I really loved those long-term private coaching containers. Like I loved holding space for clients on a really deep level, like checking in every day. And yes, I learned so much. And I also did like change lives. Like my coaching was valuable then as well, of course. But I just reflect on that now, and I was just giving so much energy away. And now having the energy for myself, like having a session with someone and then closing the energetic connection, so much more magic is happening in my own life. And I guess I've been learning about like what it means to be connected with other people and the energetic connections that we open just through sessions and speaking and, you know, even with the people listening to the podcast or engaging with my content, like how much energy I'm giving away or trying to solve other people's problems or getting up in their business, you know? Whereas when I bring that energy back to myself, then so much more can happen in my own life. Like I'm so much more free. Yeah, I could keep talking about that. But anyway. So I've learned more about energetic boundaries. Yeah, okay, we've covered that. Book a session if you want one. If you don't want one, that's fine. Yeah, okay, let's talk about human design because that's really what I wanted to get into next. I can't remember like how much I've spoken about human design already. I know I have spoken about it, but human design, what is it? It is something that I found probably in 2021 is when I was first exposed to it, like on Instagram. And all I knew back then was that I was a generator. Generators are the life force energy of the planet. We love to work. We love to do work that we love. And it's like we have a never-ending ability to work. We have a lot of energy. And the type of generator that I am, I have what's called a sacral authority. And that means I can just decide if I want to do something by saying yes or no. Like, do you want this? Yes, no. Do you want this? Yes, no. Do you want this? Yes, no. That's how I navigate the world. So when I first found this, I didn't really know what it meant. And we obviously find these things when we're ready. But over time, learned a little bit more about it, like similar to astrology. And then last year I actually started to study it and like really live by the principles, like especially that sacral authority, the yes-no response. So human design, right? What is it? So when you're born, you have an energetic blueprint. So it's based on the time and day that you're born and then the location, which I think just checks like the time zone. Human design, you have centers, which are similar to chakras. You have the root center, sacral, G center, heart center, head center, ajna, and then the spleen and the solar plexus. So you have these different centers. Some of them are defined, which means that you have a consistent source of energy in that space, which means that almost like your personality is quite kind of, it's not fixed, but it's consistent in that center. Then you have undefined centers or open centers. And with these centers, you can feel, taste, like experience other people's defined centers. So all of us have a mixture of open or defined centers, which means that when our energies come together, our energies are actually mingling. Then there are also gates and channels. So gates, from what I know at this point, they're almost like qualities or characteristics about you as a person. So they're like gifts as well. They're strengths that you have. But every gate has, its benefits and its shadow side, which you need to experience and work through and like learn from to then, better understand yourself, like how to utilize your gifts and not have it in the shadow aspect. There are also channels, which channels join the centers together, like almost like joining chakras, slightly different. And we will each have, it's like some of us will have more channels connected than others. And again, it shows like the importance of, or maybe not importance, but like how amazing it is to then meet other people and the gates and channels connect in different ways. So not only do we have different energies with defined or undefined centers, and you get to meet people and you get to experience your auras coming together, and you get to feel and experience what someone else is experiencing and, share energy and learn. But then you can also feel, experience, and share like different gifts, different gates, different channels. Which I just think is so cool. So like we literally all bring something different to each other, something unique to share or to learn. Yeah, it's so cool. And you can go deeper. Then there are planets, and we have different, systems. So for example, I have a split system, which means I have two distinct voices in my system. So like my top channels are connected and my bottom channels are connected, but I actually have an like open space between these two channels. So it's like I have two clear voices in my system that are not always connected, which is really fascinating. And the benefit of that is that I can really understand different points of view. And an obvious struggle from that is that sometimes it can be hard for me to make a decision or to feel like 100% in a decision. So yeah, you can go deeper with it. I just find human design so fascinating. So yeah, last year I started to really, I guess, be more pedantic about embodying that, like the human design method. So yeah, let me elaborate. So we have strategy and authority. Yeah, okay. So we've each got our blueprint, and then you have your own unique like strategy on authority, and you also have your energy type. So I've already mentioned I'm a generator, which means I have a lot of energy and I can work super hard. The benefits is that obviously I can get a lot done, and I can help raise the vibration essentially as a generator. I'm bringing energy into the planet. One of the shadow aspects of a generator is it's easy to get stuck trading my energy for money, or like giving my energy away for approval. And generators need to be careful that they don't get taken advantage of, where other people want their energy, and like they want their energy to, you know, do stuff for them or build their dream for them or whatever. Like generators have to be cautious that they actually use the energy for stuff that they want. Because even though we have massive amounts of energy, we can still get burned out like anybody else if we're living out of alignment. Right, so I'm a generator, and then we have your strategy. So my strategy is responding. This means that the way I go through life and like kind of how I make decisions is in responding to things. So if someone says to me, do you want to go out? Do you want to come to this event? Do you want to travel here? Do you want to do this thing? I am responding to those offers from the universe. That's the strategy. My authority, the authority over how I make decisions is my sacral center. And for me, it's just a yes, no, which is awesome. I'm glad I have that aspect in my design. Just yes, no, do I want to do it? Yes or no? Yeah, okay. And it sounds easy, but the challenge in human design is deconditioning. So in human design, if you are aligned to the way that you're supposed to be operating, then you're in the self, like you're being the true self, the way that you're designed to operate. If you are doing what you think you should do, or acting out of obligation, or doing something because like you want to have those qualities, like if you've picked the energy up from someone else and you're trying to replicate that, that is the not self. That is acting out of conditioning. So yeah, and then there are different energy types. There's like projectors who need a lot more rest. There's manifesting generators who are similar to myself, lots of energy, but they can also initiate things. They're not just sort of limited to responding. There are reflectors whose authority is like a whole moon cycle, which is different to my like yes, no in the moment. Have I missed anyone? Generators, projectors, manifesting generators, reflectors. Manifestors. Manifestors are all about initiating things and just letting people know that they do it. They just move really quickly, but manifestors are not really designed to do things long term. Anyway, there's way more detail to each type. That's just like a nuanced overview. Okay, but then there's the journey of deconditioning. And I feel like I really actually started on this path last year. I mean, maybe it goes back further than that, you know, because in 2021, I decided to stop hustling. I stopped doing paid advertising. I shifted from my fitness business into mindset coaching. And I had that feeling like I want to work less, help more people. I want to do what I love. That was definitely a part of deconditioning, but that was more like a soul calling. Like I didn't really know what I was even doing at that time. But so last year, 2024, I knew a bit more about human design, but I had my Kundalini awakening, which was like just over a year ago now. And Kundalini obviously does not fuck around. And Kundalini, it just made my inner voice so loud and clear, and I could no longer force anything that was out of alignment. So I previously had done long-term private coaching and courses to make money, which I've already mentioned. And after Kundalini, I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to break from that. And my mind was like, oh my God, but what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to make money? Like, I have to do that. But my body, my sacral was like, no, I do not have energy for that anymore. That's it. And it's the conditioning, the programming, it's the not self that, wants to do stuff that like doesn't actually serve you anymore. So Kundalini was a hard and fast teacher. Then obviously I was like, I want to do a little bit more music. And then I got into this DJ competition. And then after the competition, I got a bunch of gigs. And I think I spoke about this in December, but I kept checking in with my sacral. Like I was getting these gigs. I played in clubs, like in nightclubs in Melbourne and bars. And I was like, do I want to be here? And the answer was yes. And I did feel a little bit confused because I am sober. I don't drink or do drugs anymore. Like I've had a drink occasionally, but I just don't really care anymore. So I was like, but I was asking my body, should I take this gig? Do I want to be here? Does this feel fun to me? Yes, yes, yes. So even though it took me on a bit of an adventure, it was still right and like my path. And that was also challenging the conditioning that I had around what I could and could not do, around what I should be doing, especially like as a healer. I was like, oh my God, if you're a healer, you shouldn't be DJing in the club. You shouldn't be around drug use. Like my logical brain telling me what I should be doing. But it's like, well, but my sacral, like my body knows where I'm supposed to be. So trusting that and like, releasing the fear or the judgment and like letting go of the mind, like the mind, what the mind thinks you should be doing. And what human design says for everyone is the mind is like a calculator. The mind is always processing. It's not designed to make decisions. So you do not want to be living from your mind unless you are a mental projector, which is different. That's like 1% of the population that actually makes decisions just with their mind. Anyway, but last year was really fun, and I am so glad that I got to do music again. Studied music production. I want to do music now. It's something that's just happening now for me, like kind of on the side. And my healing work is still here. It hasn't gone anywhere. I feel now free to do all these things that I enjoy doing, and I don't feel limited by any of them. And I just feel like the more I've been embodying this, it's like, oh, I get to sit back and relax and enjoy my life. I get to enjoy this experience. It's like watching a movie. Instead of trying to like figure everything out all the time, it's just like, oh, I can just do what feels right, and I know that everything's going to work out. So it's been a really fascinating shift in energy. But anyway, so to wrap up the year, like I DJ'd at Crown Casino in Melbourne for New Year's Eve, which like, it's like I was just playing in a side room, but it is actually a big deal. It's a big deal that I got hired for that. And it's funny because I just feel like on a spiritual level, I'm so detached now. Like, I'm so detached. I was even unsure about accepting that gig because I was like, do I want to play like in a casino? Like, casinos, I don't go to them. It's not really aligned with my like principles. But again, I just checked in with my sacral, like, do I want to DJ for New Year's Eve? I was like, yeah, that would be fun. I want to DJ for New Year's Eve. That would be chill. So I felt like super detached from it, but it was a really fun experience. And then after, and again, like, I feel me being detached through all the gigs that I received is a part of why I got the gigs. So if this was me like 10 years ago, I would be like, oh my God, I'm DJing in a club. Like, that's so cool. I don't know. I think in the past, I just would have thought like, that's top shit. Like, we're so cool. Oh my God. And now I'm like, it's so fun. I love it. Like, I love playing, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, it's just an experience that I'm having in this moment. Like, I love getting my music together onto a USB. I love curating it. I love being there. It's like a meditative experience. I love the high energy. I love the dancing. I love sharing my music with other people. But it's just an experience. It's just an experience. Like, it wouldn't matter if I'm like DJing at home or if like I'm DJing a big festival. I'm like, it's just an experience. It's not unachievable anymore. It's not, anyway, I just feel really detached in a healthy way. But so the Crown Casino gig was fun for New Year's Eve, but then after I could feel in my body, like, I need a break. As fun as it's been to DJ, working late nights has had like a big effect on my energy, and being around certain people and definitely around, for example, drug use, I feel like I can feel that in my energy. Like, I do my best to protect my energy, but I could feel that, and I can feel people's wounding. And I just needed a break, like, to make my energy my own again. But this is, again, just listening to my sacral. And then I found I did have this beautiful period of time where things were like really quiet. Like, I was able to just go into hermit mode, like all of January, part of February. And all I wanted to do was just cleanse, clean out my old stuff, just clear away anything that wasn't serving me anymore. And I think I did mention in my last podcast how I had created a techno event with a friend in December, and then shortly after, she essentially kicked me out of the group. And that was extremely painful. But then after processing like how that had happened, I felt like, oh my God, thank God. Thank God I'm out. Like, I've always said, I want to do music. I don't care about nightlife. I want to create and share music that I love. I don't care about being in the club. So even though that event was painful and required like self-reflection and integration and healing and mourning as well, I was also like, thank God I'm out, and I just want to hermit and rest and like come back to my truth. Right, so I spent all of January like cleansing and clearing, and I got I would say like a proper human design reading from someone from the International School of Human Design, where I'm thinking of studying. So I got this reading, and it was so fascinating because we went deeper into my centers and some of my gates and channels that I have, and it was so validating. Oh my God, this is why like I love human design. And I'll say as well, human design combines a few like ancient methods. So I think it combines astrology, the I Ching, and the Kabbalah. I feel like I should Google that. That's all right. No, okay, let me Google that really quick. Human design uses astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, and the chakra system. Okay, great. I was correct. So it combines a couple of systems. Right, and so I was going to say, but I feel human design is actually way more straightforward than, for example, astrology. Even though it combines them, and even though human design, you can go really deep into your chart, like there is a lot of nuance. But human design, I just feel like it really simplifies things. So I've already spoken my energy type, I'm a generator. My authority is my sacral. My strategy is to respond. And in human design, they say that's all you need. That's all you need to know. So for example, I could know nothing about my chart, but just listen to my yes, no in my body. And as long as I listen to my yes, no in my body for the rest of my life, I would be sweet. Because that yes, no, that strategy, that's how I move through life. That's going to allow me to be my true self. So in human design, it's really straightforward in that way. You get your energy type, your strategy, your authority. It's like you're set for life. Okay, but then you can go deeper and get like a lot more wisdom. So some things that I just would love to share. I have a feeling I'm going to talk about human design a lot more. But things that really resonated with me. Number one, like I have, it's called like the channel of the beat. And this means that I move to my own beat. So I move at my own pace. And Moore, who gave me the reading, she was like, other people can tell you to hurry up or to do something at a certain time. And other people might be pulling their hair out trying to get you to move faster, but you're just going to go at your own pace. That is your design. And that was so good to hear because like I love having freedom in my days. I love moving in a way that feels good to me. And like, I'm super organized. I stay on top of my to-do list, but my to-do list changes every single day. Like and this is my sacral response where moment to moment, I'm like, do I want to do this? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And in the past, I would really try to control myself where I would write a schedule and I would try and follow that schedule every week to try to be more productive or consistent. And I would try and write like a set morning routine that I was supposed to do every day. And like, you know, other people would tell me to like, you know, if you want to be an amazing DJ, like practice every single day. And I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Fuck off. Like, I'll do it when I want to do it. And I will do it. I will get it done. I will do the thing. I tick everything off my to-do list, but I'll do it when I want to do it. So it was interesting to hear that that's a part of my design. Also because would have said this before, like the average 9 to 5 just does not resonate with me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just not for me. And in the past, I used to feel bad for that. And I would question myself, like, yeah, I'd be like, is there something wrong with me that I can't just get a normal job like other people? But I literally can't. Like, I hate it. I just would hate to be doing the same thing every day. But then, you know, we all have different energy types. So we're all having a different experience. I was saying this to a friend recently where I feel like for me, as an example, if I work a 9 to 5, I feel like a weird thing happens with time. I feel like a weird thing happens with time where the 9 to 5, it takes up literally my whole day. And then I come home exhausted and there's no time left at all. And anytime I've been in that position, working hours like that, it's like the window of time for myself gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's really unpleasant. But that's my design, you know? And I feel that people who are designed differently, who can work a 9 to 5, they are supposed to have consistency or they do well with a schedule. I feel like the 9 to 5 is just a small part of their day. And then at the end of the day, they go and enjoy like the other half of the day. So I feel like in learning about the different energy types, I really get to understand how we're all experiencing the world so differently, which is just really cool. So I have the channel of the beat. I also have a channel of concentration, which is between the root center and the sacral center. And this means that once I'm focused on something, I can get completely immersed in the task and I will just sit there and get it done. It's a very generator thing. Not all generators have this though. But she said it's like I can sit still like a Buddha and just work until it's done. And that was so validating for me because again, once I'm inspired and I start working, I don't care what the time is. I have worked before until like 2 a.m., probably until later. Like if I'm just doing a task and I want it to be done, it just does not matter how long it takes. And I actually enjoy those moments. Now, in the past, again, I would feel bad for this. I thought there was something wrong with me. I used to live with friends, and when, you know, things were out of balance at the time. Like when I had my fitness business, I was working all the time because I felt that I had to. There was a lot of programming and conditioning happening there. But I also was enjoying the experience of building my fitness business, right? If I take it to like 2020, 2021. And I remember I had friends see how much I was working and they were like, you've got a problem. You should not be working that much. Like that's not healthy. And so then I thought there was like something wrong with me because I was working a lot. But I remember being confused by it because even though I was working a lot and in that like zone of concentration, I was also, meditating every morning and going to the gym and eating super healthy and like getting out on the weekends. So I was like, I'm working a lot, but I'm doing stuff I want to do. And at that time I was trying to build like a big business. When I had that mentality, I had to work a lot. And I found myself kind of apologizing for my behavior or trying to explain my behavior. And now I'm like, oh, like I'm designed to lock in. Once I'm working, I'm working. And other people are not designed that way, which is just cool. But now that I'm more listening to my sacral, what I found, especially January to February, I will lock into a task and do that like nonstop until it's done. And then I'll do nothing for like two or 3 days. Or I'll do stuff, but like small things. So I find now that I just allow it. I just allow my energy to function as it's supposed to. And then when I've done the task, I will do nothing. I will go to the beach. I will totally relax. I'll just read my book or do art. And now that I feel in the past I would keep pushing through and constantly working, but now that I better understand my own energy and the sacral, I can get shit done, and then the rest break, it actually happens naturally. So yeah, I just find that really cool. Okay. So a part of that I want to share how I've been embodying that. So like I said, after New Year's Eve, I played at Crown and then I was like, I want to break from nightlife. I just want to like restore my sleep schedule and just like cleanse my energy and feel grounded. And then all I wanted to do was clean out my stuff. And I had that human design reading where she spoke more about, my sacral, my design, my centers. And I asked her, I said to her, for example, I want to do music. I want to make my own music. And I can tell that it's on my path now. But I honestly, I want a break. I need a break after the recent DJing that I've done. I also don't want to rush creating my music. And I said, I don't like when I feel pressured to create. And I said, I honestly, as an example, I was like, I want to clean all my stuff. Like, I want to clean out my wardrobe. I want to back up my hard drives. Like, there's all this little technical stuff that I want to do. Okay, but I was then like feeling bad because I was like, I should be doing music. Like, I can feel it's on my path. I'm going that way. I feel like I should be making music every day, but all I want to do is like clean out my stuff right now. And I just asked her, you know, is that my mind telling me what to do? Because I was like, is my mind telling me to clean stuff? And she was like, just ask your sacral, what do you actually want? If you want to just clean your stuff, that's what you're supposed to be doing. If you want to be immersed in that, that's what you have energy for. As a generator, that's where your energy wants to go. And if you just do the things that you enjoy, like, you'll naturally come back to, you know, making music or whatever, like at the right time. And again, that was so validating and liberating, because it was actually my mind saying, you should do music right now. You need to make a song right now. And I was like, ugh, I hate that energy. Like, I don't want to make music from that space. So it was like so beautiful to just have that permission to do the cleaning stuff, which other people would say is like not important. But it felt so good and therapeutic for me to do all that cleaning, all that letting go. And if you know anything about energy, it makes a fucking difference. It makes such a difference to let go of the past. And I did all the things, cleaned out my cupboard, gave away old clothes, gave away old like bits of furniture I don't want or resonate with anymore, deleted old photos that I don't need anymore, cleaned out my hard drives, cleaned out my laptop. I cleaned out like my Google Drive, my old emails. I think this is crazy. I deleted over 10,000 emails. Because my emails were organized. Like, I'm a Virgo rising and a Virgo Mars. My emails were organized, but I didn't realize for how many years I had been just organizing them. So I deleted 10,000 emails. For some people, like, they don't need to do that stuff. For me, that energetic cleanse makes a huge difference. And now I've been DJing and playing, like mixing again from a place of fun and joy. Another task that I did, if anybody cares, is I've been wanting to organize my music collection. I might have mentioned it last time. Like, after I did that DJ competition, I was like, okay, I need high quality music because the music I had before was crap. And then I have to organize it in Rekordbox, which is the DJ software. And I wanted it organized so that anytime I play a gig, I obviously know what genre I'm playing. Like, if I'm playing jazz or heavy techno, like, you need to know the genres. And I also wanted to add tags to the music, because one song might fit, 3 or 4 different sort of genres, and it can also fit different vibes. And the way that I play, I definitely play sort of more by vibe. Like, I don't stick to just one genre, especially when I host ecstatic dance. I need vibes. Like, I need to know which songs are sad or angry or introspective or romantic or sensual. Like, I tagged all my music. So I did that for about 2,000 songs. I started like May, June last year, and it took me until mid-January to finish. But originally I was just organizing my music like a couple of hours a week, and it was really hard and difficult and time consuming, and like I had gigs to prepare for at the same time and healing clients, and I just felt really like pulled in different directions. And I had other DJs saying, don't organize your music collection, it's a lost cause. So many other people, their music was just a mess. But my soul is like, no, it has to be organized. Like, I have to do it now while I can, before I start adding new music. And for me, like, I want to be able to play the long game with my music. I don't want my music to become such a shit show that DJing becomes like really unpleasant or difficult. Anyway, after I had that human design reading, it was such a permission slip to stop trying to do everything all at once. Like, for example, to let go of even trying to make music. Like, I want to make music eventually, but I just let that go. And I just sat down and organized my music collection every single day, like pretty much full time. I didn't worry about making content. I didn't worry about marketing. I didn't worry about my podcast. Because in that moment, I didn't care. All I wanted to do was organize my music. And then it was done. Yeah, and then I just did all this cleansing and clearing. And it felt so, so good just doing what I want to do. Yeah, just trusting, doing it my way. And it's funny also then the conditioning that's come up for me around like making content or like telling people about what I do. And even about like how I get clients, right? I've mentioned this before. So in the past, I'd be like, I have to make a post like every other day to remind people that I exist and that like they can book a session. Or like tell people why they need a session or what the benefits are or what's involved. And now that I've been really, hardcore, like following my sacral, I'll be like, sometimes I'll have a thought and be like, oh, that's really interesting. I'll be like, oh, do I want to share that? And so often my body's been like, no, I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like sharing that. I don't need to. Or like the message isn't complete yet. And then honoring that instead of posting actually kind of out of fear and being like, oh my God, I need to share this to like prove to people that I know what I'm talking about. Now being like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. This thought is really interesting, but my sacral, I just don't have energy to share it right now. And it's like really honoring my sacral and then trusting when I actually post. Again, it's like I'm keeping more of my energy for myself instead of, trying to prove or like give it away all the time. And I feel like I can feel my magnetism to another level. So now I'm having these wonderful thoughts and messages, which are like always coming through for me. And being like, if I keep them for myself, when I'm supposed to, I feel like other people can actually feel that. Like I don't have to make the post to prove anything or show anything. If I'm just receiving the wisdom and living my life, doing what feels right, it's like people can just feel that. They can feel my energy. And not in a way where we're connected or they're taking from me. It's just magnetism. Like I feel like I can just feel that magnetism. One example of this actually at play, I feel, is like my YouTube has been getting a lot of attention recently, which I'm really grateful for. But I am posting now just whenever I feel like it. And, in the past, I would think I have to make a podcast every single week. I have to build up my client base. I have to make something regular for people to connect with. And like, I have to build a relationship. Like I used to be trying to build something and like get people. And now it's like, oh, if I just post whenever it feels good, people will just find my podcast, period. At any time. I don't have to post anything and people can still find me. And it's working. And then I feel when I do get on like today, I actually have so much to share and I've actually integrated the experiences that I've been having. I have, like nothing is, finished, but I have like complete messages to share instead of like half messages or like half experience things. Like I knew today, I was like, it's time to record. I have a story to tell. Whereas if I recorded this a month ago, I'd still be umming and ahhing about my embodiment, or like not fully sure, or like not having the evidence yet, or not being fully grounded. It's like now the wisdom has been integrated. It's ready to share. Anyway, where was I going with that? So like just doing things when it feels good. It's such a relief. And it's cool too. This is where like the nuance of human design is really fun, because I'm a generator. I can work really hard. Here, let me get my hair. I don't really know what to do with my hair. Sometimes it looks really good, and sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure about that. It's fine. It's fine. The nuance of human design. So even though I'm a generator, I can work really hard. I still, that doesn't mean I can do everything all at once. And especially also nuance with human design. Like as a generator, I've learned generators, we really like to focus on one thing at a time. So when I first heard about human design, I really resonated with manifesting generators. Manifesting generators can do multiple things at once, and they always have lots of skills and hobbies going at the same time. And I resonate with that because I do lots of things. I surf, I dance, I like reading, I like writing, I like doing art, I love to work out. Like I love learning languages, French. I'll learn more eventually, but like I really enjoy that. So I originally resonated with the manifesting generator. But the more that I've embodied my chart, embodied that sacral authority, I realize that I do prefer to do things one at a time. When I was organizing my music, I did that and pretty much nothing else, except your general, like moving my body, eating healthy, seeing friends. Like I just organized my music, nothing else. Then I was cleaning out like my closet, nothing else. Then I was cleaning out my photo collection, nothing else. Then I was backing up my hard drives, nothing else. In that time, I did not want to DJ. I did not do music. I did not do music production. I did not go surfing. Like I didn't podcast. Like it was just one thing at a time. And even last year, you could say like November, December, all I was focusing on was DJing gigs. I still had healing clients, but it wasn't like at the forefront. So yeah, it's just been really cool, like learning about how I like to do things and what's most efficient for me. And then, yeah, that relief in like, oh, I don't have to do things how other people say I should. And in fact, if I do it my way, I am making the best progress. Anyway, I feel like I kind of said that. Okay, and it's like so many things I want to share. I've also really, in this deconditioning process, really been learning the value of patience. So another thing from the human design reading I received, she was like, if your sacral is saying no or not now, like to everything, be patient. Let life come to you. And this really is relevant, like for every type. If your body's not telling you to go or take action, like wait. And previously as a generator, I would just push myself all the time, every single day. I would find stuff to do. I would force content. I would post. I just made myself do so much stuff. And now, like even yesterday, I was like, I'm kind of bored. Do I want to do this? What about this? This. And it was like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. I could force myself to do that work, but now I know there's no point, because if my body is saying no, it means it's not the right time, or it doesn't need to be done yet. Or it could mean like I'm going to get more information later that will change the task or like put me in a better position to do it. So now it's like if I listen to my sacral, I don't waste energy on stuff that doesn't need to be done. And then that's when, for me as a generator, like then the rest happens. Like I just get to rest. And also as a generator, then more offers come in those moments of rest. Life has a chance to happen. And then I get to say yes or no to whatever comes through in that moment. And this really reminds me of the conversation I had with Maya Morwena, a couple of podcast episodes ago. And she spoke about like the power of embodiment and being present and like being present with the magic of life. So instead of planning everything out with the mind's always trying to control things. She spoke about being fully present with the magic of life and just seeing like where life takes you and what comes up. Yeah, and it's like through human design, I'm learning when to wait, when to be patient, and then knowing, okay, in those moments of waiting, something better is coming. Something better could happen, or maybe like I'm resting my nervous system to receive something, which has been so cool. And I guess, so I had the DJ gig, Crown, New Year's Eve, which was a big deal. Like whatever, but it is a big milestone. And after that, I didn't have any DJ gigs booked in. And like I said, I was glad. I wanted a break. But I also thought, oh, like other people I know are getting gigs. Should I be trying to get gigs? Should I go out to places and introduce myself to like try and get gigs? And I just was like, oh, no. Like, yes, I love the music, but I don't really want to go to those spaces right now. I want a break. I don't like networking. Like, I prefer for things to just happen naturally. So I was like, just wait and trust. Listen to my sacral, wait and trust. If I wanted to go to something, like I would have, but my body just said, no, thanks, no, don't want to go out. Anyway, and I just had a gig confirmed like for end of March. And I got hired for that gig for myself. I've been hired to play what I want to play. I didn't have to, like, and I got the gig through someone I know. I didn't have to go anywhere to try and get something or introduce myself or push or force in any way. So waiting, like, I feel like it's worked out. Okay, cool. Water break. So a big thing I mentioned there as well, deconditioning, realizing what's the not self and what is the self. And the not self, like I said, it's trying to embody the qualities that other people have, like wanting to be something that's actually not your design, or like following things out of obligation, doing what the mind like tells you should be doing. That's kind of conditioning. But I also mentioned like something that kind of goes hand in hand with that is not trying to prove myself anymore. I've low-key been talking about this whole time. Not trying to prove myself anymore. Excuse me. So this really relates to the heart center in human design. Now, the heart center has more than one name. The heart center, the will center, the ego center. So the heart center, it is about self-love, but it's also about really kind of like self-confidence and willpower. Yeah, willpower. So if you have the center undefined, I have an undefined heart center, you have inconsistent willpower. So having an open heart center means we are not designed to compete. We are not designed to make like big grandiose claims and then prove ourselves. And so the not self would be trying to embody someone with a defined heart center. So someone with a defined heart center, they just have the willpower to push through. They can make big claims and back it up. They can be competitive. Like it's really in their nature to be competitive, and sort of to people with a defined will center, sort of to get noticed by like really putting themselves out there, you could say. Whereas an undefined or an open heart center, we still get noticed, but it happens without trying. And it's been really interesting embodying that and noticing the nuance of it. Because I feel like I've said already as well, I was getting DJ gigs when I was not trying and like detached. And for some people are made for the hustle. They are made to go to networking events, go to clubs, put themselves out there, push, whatever. Or in the healing space, some people are made to make reels every single day, and they have that willpower. They're designed to do that. And for me now being like, oh, I'm just not designed that way. For me personally, I'm not supposed to try and prove myself. I find it really exhausting. It's not my nature. And because it's not my nature, if I try and push and prove myself, it's like met with a lot of resistance. So people don't receive it well. For example, let's say someone has a defined will center. If they go out, they're hustling, they're making content every day, you could say that like people are going to really love that. They're going to love the consistency. It will feel good. It will just happen as it's supposed to. Like it will flow. Whereas for myself, with the open heart center, if I am telling people why they need a session and pushing and making content every day, it's not going to feel right. It's going to feel like I'm forcing it in people's faces. It just won't flow the same. So it's been, again, so validating to really understand that about my chart and to more, understand how my energy operates. And I feel, especially now, really knowing this about this center, I actually feel almost like I've had this moment, like this period of fatigue as I come out of that conditioning. So, in the past I did musical theater, and that was all about being the best in the room and like very competitive, and like you had to be fierce and like switched on to your, the character that you were playing. And I didn't like that. Like I didn't like that about musical theater. And I found that I really struggled to express emotions when I was singing in a rigid way. And now I'm like, oh my God, I was trying to compete and prove myself in that environment. Like it's a competitive environment, and that is not my design. Like even when just recently I was in, nightlife and stuff, and I felt a lot of people like wanting to be the best in the room, and this competition about being like the best DJ and the most skilled. And I was like, great, I like to play, but like I don't care about being the best. And I just would feel in my body like it doesn't interest me to try and be the best in the room. So I just, again, find it like so fascinating to get more nuance into the chart and be like, oh, I don't have to compete. I don't have to do that. And the people that enjoy that, like, awesome. And I don't need to feel bad about doing it my way. And then I feel what I've learned is like, I just so value the art and the creativity and the authenticity and the integrity. I really enjoyed the experience of playing in clubs and like playing really fun, pumping music, but I also loved doing ecstatic dance and taking people on an emotional, like magical journey. I just love like the artistry and the expression in that. And I've said as well, like, yes, I do want to make music, but I just trust the music will come when it's meant to, and that I don't need to push. Because I've also just started, and I don't want the pressure to like try and make the best song ever straight away. Like, I have no doubt that the first couple of songs that I make, they probably won't be very good. And I'm like, that's fine. Whereas like just a comparison, a lot of the people I was around before in nightlife, they were trying to keep up with the hype after the DJ competition. They wanted to get music out quickly while they had eyes on them, and to build an audience and get you know, a banging single out every 6 weeks, and like build a backlog of music really quickly. And like, I was just like, that sounds exhausting to me. Like, even though I'm a generator, I have a defined sacral and root center, which means I have a lot of energy. I don't have energy to push in that way. So more fascinating tales from human design. Okay. Okay. There's not much more that I want to share. I did just want to make a comment on gate 19. Let me also just check real quick. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. Yep. So gate 19, I just wanted to talk about this quickly. So gate 19 is the gate of wanting, but it's also known as the gate of sensitivity. And this gate is, I have this gate, and it means that I am highly sensitive to the needs and wants of the tribe. So this is a tribal gate. Some gates, like some of our wiring is tribal. It's about the group, the community, and some of our wiring is individual. So I actually am a dominant individual, but I do have tribal wiring. So gate 19, the gate of wanting, the gate of sensitivity, being attuned to the needs of the tribe. This gate really just popped up for me, like late January. And I learned like the benefits of this gate. It's being highly sensitive to others, being able to like be there and provide and, you know, say the right thing at the right time, like makes sense for me as a healer. Like, I can just really tap into people's energies and feel, you know, what they're needing in that moment. And I can really see people clearly. I can really see what they need. But the shadow aspect of this gate is putting the needs of others above your own, self-neglect, codependence, and then like the shadow of this gate is like over-giving, trying to fix things for other people, which creates like codependence and expectations. And it was like such a shock for me to really go deep on that gate and to really see it. And obviously it came up at the right time when it was meant to. Maybe you're hearing about this gate right now for a reason. But it just made me realize how shit my boundaries had been, which is why I gave that big spiel about my boundaries at the start of this podcast. Like, I just realized like how deep I was in the shadow of that. And I want to have some compassion for myself that I have already come so far. Like, I'm not as codependent as I used to be. I'm more independent than I used to be. I am like, I had already been doing the inner work. But yeah, I just saw it like on a whole new level. When I saw gate 19 and the shadow aspect, I realized that I had so much ego in wanting to be wanted by my clients, wanting to feel validated and needed because I can help with someone else's struggles. So the shadow side is like making other people's business your own when it's got nothing to do with you, which relates to like how we can actually make people helpless when we try and help them too much. And I just realized like I had been carrying so much energetic weight, from other people. And especially in my family, for a long time, I had been thinking like I wasn't fully appreciated by some people in my family. Like they weren't realizing how much I was doing for them, like doing for the tribe, how much emotional labor like I was doing and shifting in the whole family line. And I also was feeling a bit stifled by that energy. Like I felt like there were expectations on me that people didn't realize that they had. Like people just expected me to do stuff for them. And it was never like, it was like a thankless task. And then, gate 19 came up for me. And I was like, oh my God, I've been doing this stuff that nobody asked me to do. I have been doing stuff that's a thankless task because it was like I've been stepping in and handling it before other people even realized that it existed. And then how is that individual ever going to learn to do it on their own if they don't even know that that problem exists? Because I keep doing it because like I can just energetically feel it and I just transmute it. That just noticing that gate on a deeper level, I feel like it just changed my life. Because also I have an open solar plexus and an open spleen. The open solar plexus, that's an emotional center. So it means that I can feel other people's emotions. And then the open spleen means I can feel other people's fear. Like there's more nuance to it, but that's just a generalized view. And then in addition, having gate 19, I just realized and this is me like being highly intuitive and learning how to navigate that. I had been feeling other people's stuff and then I had been processing it when it was never mine to begin with. And when I say it out loud like that, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I was like, I cannot believe I have been doing this my whole fucking life. Like, how much energy have I wasted doing this? It was really crazy realizing that. So immediately when I realized that, I was like, I need to let people handle their own stuff, but also to trust people. Again, clearing that codependence in my family, in my friendships, and with my clients as well. Actually, you don't need me. Like, I'm here for you if you want to ask, but you don't need me to, I don't need to be doing so much that, people didn't ask for. Okay. I'm like, does my hair look like a bowl cut? I don't know. Like, sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it shifts, it doesn't look so good. It's fine. I look great. It's fine. So when I learned about gate 19, I immediately cleaned up my boundaries, stepped back in a lot of friendships and relationships. Stopped feeding this codependent story with, my business as well, not making as much content. But the biggest thing that came from this, like the positive, was I suddenly felt free. And this is like a really great sign for generators as well. When we feel satisfied, we feel free and like excited. And I just realized that I had been, feeling stifled and like really kind of creatively stuck because I had been carrying other people's stuff. And that's my understanding that it's like, oh, that's my nature. I am designed to feel other people's stuff. Like I am designed to have that awareness. But now that I realize that, to be like, oh, here are my boundaries. This is mine, that's yours. Like not absorbing other people's energy. And all of a sudden I just felt free. So it was like before I knew that up to that level, before it was like, I have to be here. People need me here. People rely on me. I have like a role to play. I just felt like people really need me in this space, like especially in this house, like with my parents. I was like, I need to be here. Like I just felt this energy that I had to. And obviously I did have to because I had to figure it out, if that makes sense. Like, some people would say to me, like, why don't you just leave and house sit somewhere? And I'd be like, there's kind of no point because I can feel energetically I'll be pulled back. Like there's something happening here in this house for me that I have to shift so that I can like be free. So I could feel energetically I had to be there in that moment. And then when I was like, oh, people, they actually don't need me. I don't have to do all this stuff. Across the board in like so many different, like I can let all of this go. That energy just lifted. And that was so cool. So now I have more energy as a generator. I feel way more excited. It's definitely been better for all my relationships. And now I'm going to travel. I'm going to travel again. So I'm going on a road trip. I've been on a couple of solo road trips before, and it's really cool to see how different things are now to the last times that I was road tripping. So I've always loved to travel. Literally all of last year, 2024, I wanted to travel so bad, but it just wasn't the right time. And I could feel I had to stay in Melbourne. Like obviously Kundalini, after Kundalini, I was really rattled and like integrating it. I just had to stay where I was safe and just be. I had to just be and let everything integrate. And I radically changed my life, really. And then I got into the DJ competition. I was just supposed to be in Melbourne. Now it's 2025. I learned these things about my sacral and where my energy is meant to go, and like trusting things just happening at the right time. And then gate 19, and then all of a sudden feeling so free. And then I was like, boom, it's time to travel. I am ready. So I'm going on a road trip. I will be going like up along New South Wales and the Gold Coast, so around all the beaches of Australia, not obviously the whole thing. And I'll be doing a combination of like staying with friends and camping. Excuse me. And yeah, I have done this in the past. And it's so cool because when I went on my very first solo road trip, so it was 2020, I was, a pretty mad like workaholic. Obviously, I was heavily conditioned. I would say I was addicted to working as a coping mechanism. There was like trauma. There was so much happening at that time. COVID, lockdowns, like trying to escape in between. And those initial road trips were fun, but they were super hard. Like it was really hard to run this massive fitness business that I had built while traveling. And I did it. I got out of my comfort zone. Like it was really good for me, but it was just really hard work, I would say. And I was still working all the time, even though I was like road tripping. Then come to like 2022, and yeah, I went on more road trips, and I was trying to just do content organically. I had let go of my fitness business. I was trying to be more in the flow. But I still really did not trust money. So I still felt a lot of pressure to get clients, get people to join, get payments. Also through like 2022 and 2023, I was still doing like I was still receiving like high level mentorship. So whatever money I made, I literally was like paying to my mentors straight away, which I don't regret at all, but it was really hard. And on one of those road trips, I was gone for like 6 weeks, camping pretty much the whole time. And I remember it would be super hot or like raining, and I was trying to record content every day, but I was like camping. All of my devices kept running out of power. I had to like go to McDonald's to charge my devices, and then I was running out of money, and like it was just hard and it was scary. And it was so good for me. Again, best time of my life. Like, I wanted to do those things to break down those patterns, and that was an important part of the process. But it was fucking hard. I learned a lot very quickly. So how is it different now? And this has just been it's just been such a nice marker as to all the inner work that I've done, and that it is actually, makes a difference. Like, now I trust money. I understand the flow. But also just now that I have such trust in my sacral response, in the way that I make decisions, I just know I'll be safe, period. Like, I know I can trust myself and my path. And if I'm listening to myself, nothing will go wrong. So I guess, like, to put it in perspective, in the past, my brain would say, like, I have to be making this much money. I need to get clients. I need money to feel safe. I have to book this thing right now. Or like, I would feel bad if I was sort of off the path. Like, there was just so much mental pressure. And now I know, for example, if money were limited for a moment, I would just be like, what does my sacral want? Do I want this? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then wherever I put that money, for example, if it's a yes, it's going to come back. Like, or if I'm wondering like where I should go or how long I should stay. Should I stay 4 nights, 3 nights? Like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yeah. That my sacral will guide me. So it's just so different now. Additionally, I do not work nearly as much as I used to. I still work. Like I said, when I lock into a task, I can work until like 2 a.m. But now I feel safe to rest, to have moments of rest or pause. When I traveled in the past, I literally couldn't rest. Like, my nervous system just wouldn't let me. I was so dysregulated, and I felt like I had to be productive all the time, which was really challenging. Whereas now, it's like every day I just do what I want to do first. I go for an ocean swim. I meditate. I can just be with the elements or be with Mother Earth and like enjoy making food. Like, it's really simple, and like then I can work. And everything gets done that's meant to get done. Like, it might not sound like much, but it's just such a different experience of time and working and presence. Like, I really don't feel like I work anymore. I just do whatever I want to do. Like, and so much of that is connected to work, like my own meditations or journaling or time in nature. I consider that like a crucial part of my work. The actual healing sessions that I offer is such a small component of like what's involved in being able to hold space for other people. Like, supporting myself is non-negotiable, and being with the magic of life, that's a part of my work. Like, if I'm going to hold space for someone else or tap into their energy, I have to be grounded in the first place. And I have to care for myself, because I'm holding space for someone else's struggle or experience. And so being with the magic of life myself is what can activate the other person for them to also be with the magic of life. Like, imagine if I was trying to see like 10 clients a day and I was burnt out and I was trying to tell people how to improve their lives if I was like working myself to death. It's just not embodied. Whereas now, like, I'm present with the flow of life and the magic, and I have my own creativity and art and expression and my own hobbies, and like, I pay myself, abundance flows to me. And then when people work with me, then they can, experience some of that energy. Anyway, I'm really, really excited to travel this time. And I have a DJ gig late March, so I'll be back in Melbourne for that. And then who knows? Like, maybe I'll keep traveling. Maybe I will get gigs interstate. I don't know. Maybe I'll release some music. Like, my music production journey's really just started, so I don't want to put a timeline on it, but I just feel so excited about the options. Okay, cool. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Gate 19 and how that's changed, and now traveling. Obviously, I've released so much of the past in this process, and I wanted to share, I've deleted my old podcast. Probably no one's noticed, but you might have noticed. In my process of like cleansing and clearing so much stuff, electrical, digital stuff as well, I had been thinking for a while of clearing my old podcast. Excuse me. I had been thinking of clearing my old podcast, but I had held on to it because I was like, there's still wisdom in my old podcast. There's still value. And I really appreciated the journey, like my journey that was visible. Like, if you watched my podcast from 2021, where I posted a podcast every week and I'd be like, here is 5 ways to transform your business, or like 10 ways to live inspired, or whatever. Like, it was just so much more structured back then, and like hyper focused on business. Yeah, so I had wanted to keep those episodes to show the journey. And I obviously had some amazing conversations, but then just recently I just realized like I couldn't get a clear response from my sacral, yes or no. Like, do I want to get rid of them? Like, my mind was saying I could keep them for these reasons, like they're still meaningful to me, sort of thing. But I was like, I know I don't resonate with that version of myself anymore. I know back then I was still quite pushy. I probably was still guiding the conversations quite a lot. Like, I wanted the conversations to have a set point. So they maybe weren't as like free flowing. Maybe I wasn't like as present. So I was like, I don't fully resonate with those old episodes anymore. And also back then, I was trying to get listens, trying to promote my podcasts. Like, I was just really promoting things like more hardcore. And then, yeah, I just remembered like having the open heart center for myself, and that we have nothing to prove. Like, anyone with the open heart center, we have nothing to prove. We're not designed to compete. We're not designed to push. We're not designed to like prove anything. So with an open heart center, when you stop trying to prove yourself, that's when you get noticed, really. And I just realized I had been keeping my old podcast to prove how far I had come. I was trying to prove, look at how much I've changed, look at how embodied I am, like, you can trust me because of this. Yeah, and then I was like, oh, well, I do not resonate with my old podcast anymore, doesn't represent me anymore, and I have nothing to prove. Like, I don't need that to prove how far I've come. And actually, who I am now is enough, and my work now is enough, and it speaks for itself. I don't even need that comparison. Like, I am enough here and now, and, I know how far I've come, and that's enough. So yeah, then I deleted my old podcast, and that felt really significant to me, at least. Yeah, and like energetic cleanses like this, it is something I practice like pretty frequently. But I know me as a person, I just have a history of struggling to let go of things, like because I can see the value in them. But I love, like, I'm getting better at it the more I practice, and obviously, like, as I'm getting older or maturing, the more that I let go, the more I can be who I truly am. You know, because we're always changing, and like the old me, she's not here anymore. Like, I love the old me and I'm so grateful to her, but like, she's not here anymore. And something that I practice is like being born again every moment. Like, if you like forget your past, if you were just born right now, where you came into consciousness in this body right now, this is what you have in this moment. You've already got the education or a certain amount of experience. Like, this is your skill level and this is what you've got right now. What would you do with that? I've been thinking of that for a long time. Like, just if you were born right now in this moment. And what I like about that thought is, first of all, there is only now. So you can sort of recreate yourself every single moment just based on what you have in the present. And I feel like it helps me to release the past because, yes, the past is relevant and your journey is important, but the past is not here and it's just a story now. Like, yes, it's real. Yes, it happened, but the past is just a story. So you can change that story, or like, you don't need to carry it with you or give it as much importance. So, you know, yeah, I practice energetically cleansing and clearing, especially with clothes. I love getting rid of all my clothes because then when I get new clothes coming in I often just trade clothes with friends. When I get new clothes coming in, it allows my identity to shift because my brain, my eyes are not holding on to something that I've seen before, like a past experience that's not here anymore, right? Like, everything's energy. So anyway, deleting my old podcasts, it felt like a real ownership of actually who I am now and just being more of myself in this moment. Anyway. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to share today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. My intentions now, so obviously I'm going to be traveling. Sessions are happening as normal. All my sessions are online now. Obviously, if I'm traveling, I can't do in-person sessions. So sessions are online. You can book a healing session or an intuitive reading or now a human design reading. I have been studying it for ages. I'm a 5-1 profile, if you know anything about that. So the line 1 means I love to investigate. I'm literally studying like 24/7 just for my own enjoyment. So I've been studying human design for ages, but I did get qualified in it last year. I have intentions of going further with my human design studies. So if you want to learn about what your energetic blueprint is, how it can affect your relationships or your work or how you make decisions and kind of your purpose in life as well, definitely book a human design reading. I find knowing your human design, obviously it helps you to make decisions, like makes life so much easier. It will help you to set boundaries, to know your path, your purpose. It helps you to get to know yourself better, like what's truly important to you versus what's a distraction, what's conditioning. But like I said in my own journey, it helps you to feel more free, brings a lot more joy into life, I feel. And I feel knowing my human design has really taken the pressure off trying to figure things out, trying to know, trying to plan everything. I now feel really safe. I feel like I have such a strong intention. Like, I do know where I'm going, but I'm open to the adventure of life. I feel like more can happen now. More opportunities can come in because I'm not trying to like hardcore plan all my goals. Okay, but how your energy works will be different for everyone. So remember, like I said earlier, some people are meant to do 9 to 5. They're designed in that way. You might have more structure, more tribal wiring. Some people are meant to be more individual, or like myself, to have no schedule and just do whatever I want, like moment to moment. So there's nuance in the chart, but it's helped me to feel more free and like I have more opportunities. So yeah, if you want a session, amazing. If you don't, I don't care. As I said, healing sessions, intuitive readings, or human design readings. Now that I'm feeling more free, I feel like I have a lot more energy. I do feel that I'm going to record my podcast more often. I do want to talk about the nuance of human design, my experience with the different centers and how I'm embodying it. I have been listening to another podcast, well, actually a couple of podcasts that are similar. And I personally just love to hear about how people are actually embodying their chart and how it shows up in life. So you can expect that. I mean, we'll wait and see. We'll see where my sacral takes me. I don't have consistent willpower, so I'm not going to commit to anything like hardcore. But I am feeling called to like speak a lot more now that my energy's shifted. I have been investing into a new website, which I'm so excited about. So I will have a new website soon. My old one, it kind of like literally doesn't work. I just haven't paid for it for like ages, so I think they canceled it. Because I just didn't resonate with it anymore. This is something I find interesting. Like, I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but when I had like my fitness business, I was taught how to scale, strategy, how to make more money, how to get more clients, how to do paid ads, whatever. Like, it did work. I'll give it that. But so I built a website to just get clients and to just funnel them in. Like, it was literally like, get the client with a freebie, put them on a sales call, convert them to a client. Like, it was a funnel system. And there wasn't that much heart in it, even though I was an amazing personal trainer and I loved that work. There wasn't that much heart in it. And it was all rushed. Like, it just happened so quickly. Now, I just am so excited about this. I'm now in a place where I have hired someone that I deeply love and trust. I love her work. I have communicated like the importance of my website, what it means to me, how it will represent me, what my offers are. It feels so different now. It feels like I know who I am and what I do, and we can just convey that essence. Like, in the past, it was like, make the website, get the clients, have the business. And now it's just like, no, this is me. This is me. This is what I do. I guess it's more welcoming. And it's been really cool to be investing into myself again in a way that's been super grounded. Yeah, so I've also mentioned I used to invest a lot of money into my education, into coaches and courses, and I don't regret any of them, but there was also a codependent loop happening back then for sure. Like, I was paying coaches because I didn't trust myself. Don't regret it, learned a lot, but I was definitely paying other people because I didn't trust myself. And I probably didn't need to pay as much as I did to learn that lesson. So now, deciding to invest into this website, it's been like a long-term investment, and I'm doing it instead of an extended payment plan, which I've said I did in the past, and it just created feelings of lack. This time, it's like I've been paying it off ahead of time. It's just, everything is so different now, the way that I'm doing it. So anyway, the website will be ready soon. I'm really excited to share that when it is done. There's still a link tree underneath this video if you want to book. So you can still book a session with me, or just message me on Instagram if you want to book a session. And yeah, music, DJ gigs coming about whenever. I'm pretty chill about my music. It will just happen when it happens. But healing sessions, readings, human design readings, they're all available right now. And I would love to do more. I would really love to welcome more people in and do more of this magic. Anyway, that's me. Thanks for hanging around, listening to all my undefined throat 5-1 ramblings. Anyway, it's enough human design stuff. Thank you for joining me. We'll talk later. Bye.